I took this worthless dirt and turned it into a shiny dirt ball. Some are selling online for over $1,000. It's made using an ancient Japanese technique called Dorodango. To start, you need to find the perfect dirt.
Too dry. This is too wet. I think this might be it. I think this dirt might be perfect because it's fine and it clumps together like clay. So let's get some more. The claws are too slow, so this should make it go faster. Woo, baby, that's some good dirt. The ball is starting to take shape, but it's nowhere near the shiny masterpiece that will sell for real money. And this is only the beginning. I'm making 3 balls in this video. One from dirt, one from metal, and one from paper to see which will sell for the most money. But for that, we need to use the tools back at my house. This sifter will help us break these huge chunks into finer dirt, which is what we need to make the perfect dirt ball. It's like we're panning for gold. As we shake, all the fine particles are falling through the sifter, leaving behind only the big chunks at the top. Oh yeah, this is good. This is all the garbage that we don't want. We got leaves and rocks and stuff in here. But inside our bowl is this perfectly fine sand. Look how smooth that dirt is. The smoother the dirt, the smoother the ball. The perfect size ball is about this big, so we need more dirt. If you don't have a sifter at home, you can also use a pasta strainer or like something you use for cooking like this. Now that we're done with the sifting, the next step is to shape our ball. And this is a delicate process because we need just the right amount of water. Too much water and it becomes mush. Not enough water, it's not gonna stick together. Let's see if we get this right. It's better to add less water in the beginning because if you add too much, the only way to fix it is by adding more sand. Ooh, look at that. This is really good actually. All right, I think we need a little bit more water because we want the ball to be bigger. And instead of forcing it, I'm just letting the dirt tell me when it feels right. It's all about feeling and listening to nature. It's already forming a ball. Look at this. This entire process is very unforgiving because one small mistake means we have to start all over again. Now our dirt ball just kind of looks like poop. So all we can do is just start the process again. It feels to me like the dirt has a mind of its own. I can feel when it has a perfect amount of moisture and when it doesn't. Because when it doesn't, it starts to form cracks like this. But when it's just right, it's more of a dough-like texture. Like this. I think this is a good size for a ball. And as the last step, we just want to sprinkle little bits of sand just to help the ball harden. Kind of like adding that last sprinkle of seasoning on top of your dish. Make sure there are no visible cracks in the ball. This ball is starting to take shape, but it's not perfectly round and it's not polished. So the next step is to try and polish. To do that, all we need is a cup, about the same size as our ball. We can try polishing right now. That doesn't look good. When I polish, it's just falling apart. So I think I need to let it dry and harden overnight before I start polishing. There's still so much I need to do before this becomes the shiny masterpiece we can sell. So while I leave this dirt ball to dry, let's move on to the next challenge, metal. The next ball we're making is an aluminum foil ball. There's also a process of making this normal household aluminum foil into a shiny mirror polished ball. All we need is just foil, and we just need to crumple it up and start forming the core. The tighter you can squeeze, the better. As the ball gets bigger, we need more foil. And now, it's hammer time. You see how this ball is so deformed? Well, we need to crack it on the head. Just shape it back into a ball. The rounder the core is, the easier it will be to work with. Don't worry about making it perfect for now. Look at that. A lot more ball-like. So we just hammer and add foil. Hammer, add foil. Hammer, add foil. Hammer, and after hammering, we have to add more foil. We want our starting ball to be at least twice the size of the final ball because it's gonna get hammered down. Now that's a ball. I think this is a good size to start hammering down even more. And for that, we have our feast of hammers. This is not just for show because the smaller the hammer, the smaller the dent, which means the smoother the ball. Try this one. Oh yeah. You wanna make sure there's no gaps in between the foils. Look at that, just by hammering, our ball has become so much smaller. Whew. Who says being a YouTuber is not hard work? As you can see, the more we hammer, the smoother the ball becomes. My neighbors must hate me. Time for the smaller hammer. Here we can make finer adjustments to make it even rounder. It looks a lot more like a ball now. It's kind of like a giant golf ball. It's time to go even smaller. The size doesn't matter, guys. It's all about how you use it. Smaller is more efficient. It hits just the right spot. I honestly think everyone should go for the smaller ones. The foil ball is not like the dirt one because you can't add on more layers of foil after you start hammering. The new foil you add will just fall apart. So you just gotta work with what you got. Woo! This is actually exercise. I wanna get to the destination as fast as possible. That's why we're switching to the smaller hammer. After an hour of going back and forth between all the hammers, this is what I have so far. Look at it. And the surface is much smoother than when we first started. The surface no longer hurts my hand. We haven't even started polishing yet. This is purely through hammering. The polishing process is gonna take hours. So for now, I'm gonna set this aside and start on the paper ball because that one needs time to dry overnight. Our next ball is made of paper. And in order to make paper into a perfectly round and smooth ball, we first need to add water. We need lots of water for this because we need to soak the paper so that it molds together. So now we have the water. What we need to do is take our paper and rip it into tiny little pieces. The smaller your pieces, the smoother your ball will be because in the end, we're gonna be binding all these paper pieces together. For those of you who like to be efficient, fold the paper into as many folds as possible and then we can kind of dice it like onions. I think that's good. You just need to cut along the edges so the paper becomes individual pieces. And then you can start cutting our paper. Best if we cut one way first, leave a little bit of space, and then we can dice this into little cubes. I feel like Bob Ross right now, you know? What is my job, guys? I just rip paper for a living. Now we got our tiny pieces of paper. We need to soak it. We gotta let the paper absorb all the water so it can start molding together. Like, it just already starts sticking together a little bit. Probably need a little bit more paper. I'm just gonna rip the rest of this into tiny little pieces. Now that we have a paper slushy, this is a perfect texture to continue on to the next step. Now, let's move the paper into another container because we need to squeeze out the water. Ooh! She's squirting everywhere. That's just what happens when we have the magic touch. Now we'll get rid of this bowl. Now that our paper is prepped, the texture is kind of like ground beef. The paper is too bland right now, so we're gonna be cooking. Let's add our seasoning of Elmer's glue. This is just like school glue. And this will help the paper stick together. Drizzle your sticky white stuff everywhere. Yeah, get it all in there. You can always add more later, but we'll see how this works. And just mix it in, mix it in. Before it was clumpy, now it's starting to stick together. Instead of looking like ground beef, now the texture is more like mashed potatoes. Just keep adding paper until it becomes the size that you want. Really work the glue in there. Just want to squeeze every last bit of water in there because that'll make it easier to dry. Now we kind of just have to form the paper into a ball shape. All these cracks, kind of just like squeeze them together like Play-Doh. As close to a smooth surface as you can get would be great. This is starting to look pretty good actually. Look at this. It's starting to look like a real ball. It's gonna kind of smooth out these little cracks over here because it's a lot easier to do this while it's wet still. Ooh, that's actually a good strategy. Coating the surface with glue smoothed it out so well. Yeah, I'm gonna just do that. Let's try that. See, it was rough before. Now let's see if we can smooth it out. Oh, dude. And here's the last spot. It's starting to look like a real ball here. The last bit we can do here is get some paper towels, place it on your table, and we can roll it into a ball. This is entirely made of paper. And look how smooth the surface is. There's almost no discernible crack. Now we'll just let this dry and start polishing all three balls. And we'll find out which one will come out looking the best and sell for the most money.
Before we move on to the next step, if you're thinking about making a Dorodango ball for yourself, I put together a free step-by-step guide on my website built with Odoo. You'll need it because Dorodango balls are tricky. Get one step wrong and the whole ball is ruined. I've also made 10 Dorodango starter kits that I'll be giving to you for free. I'll share details in a sec. And all this is possible thanks to our sponsor, Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one app with tools like course creation, e-commerce, and website building. And your first app is completely free for life. Plus, if you make a website, you get a free custom domain for 1 year. So go to hafugo.odoo.com to grab the free Dorodango guide, and 10 random people will be selected to win one of these starter kits. Check out Odoo's features while you're there and click the link in the description to get started for free. Now we have all three balls shaped. It's time to make them shine by polishing. We'll start off with the dirt ball. The polishing process is the most important because it's gonna make this worthless clump of dirt into something that we can sell for money on eBay. But it's also unforgiving because if we mess up, our ball is ruined and we have to start all over again. The way to polish a dirt ball is actually with cups. All we have to do is just wet the tip a little bit. And we're just gonna run the rim on the ball. Okay, that's a little too dry. Alternate solution, we are gonna add a little bit of water to the surface of our ball. Not too much though, because if you wet it too much, it can break apart or it can completely deform. Ugh. So before using the cup, I'm just gonna start polishing with my fingers. As you can see, as I start rubbing, it becomes a little sandier. That's the surface layer scrubbing off. Now we've wet the surface, it's time to bring back the cup. And the reason we want to use the cup is because it has a perfectly circular opening. And as we run that across a ball, it should create a perfectly round ball. So we are doing two things at the same time. We are polishing and we are rounding. A shiny and round ball is what's gonna sell on eBay. You can see a layer of dirt coming off as I rub my cup on the ball. Here's the polished part versus the unpolished part. I think the most satisfying part of making Dorodango is this polishing process. It's got that sensory feedback. You hear the sounds and then you see the dirt coming off the top layer of the ball, and it feels very calming. And now we have the top layer polished. I'm gonna move on to a smaller cup. The smaller opening of this cup will allow us to shape down more of the ball and make it even rounder. If
we don't screw up. Because if I polish too much, there's no going back. I'm a little bit worried about the bottom here because it's completely flat. So I might have to shave off a lot of dirt here in order to get it round. And that part is flat because I left it sitting like this. Okay, it's getting there, it's getting there. Oh no! No! I shaved off too much. We have a dent in our ball now. No! This is what I meant. The polishing process is very unforgiving because what am I supposed to do with this hole now? I only have myself to blame for that because I was like kind of just looking around while polishing. So I really gotta focus in this polishing process. I'm gonna move on to a smaller cup so this can shave off more of the surface. This one is made of glass instead of clay. Maybe that will have a different effect. Ooh, look at the surface of my ball. I see a lot of small holes forming, and I think that's because I'm pressing too hard. And I left the dirt on the cup, which is like kind of dragging along the surface and creating these little holes. So I gotta be more careful and make sure to clean my cup more often. Look at that, it's a lot of dirt already. Look at that, I'm making some progress because the bottom here is almost rounded out. But my ball has become more of an egg shape. We need perfectly round and perfectly shiny. To me, this ball is looking pretty delicious. It kind of looks like chocolate. Round and shiny is our goal. Round and shiny. We have made progress. The top is no longer flat. Our ball has already been shaved off of quite a bit. It's time to move on to the next cup. This is an egg holder. According to some YouTube videos, it might be the perfect opening for Dorodango because the edge curves and fans out a little bit. That allows me to smoothly glide across the surface of the ball. Thank you to that one random Japanese lady on YouTube because this is the best feeling cup I've used so far. The ball is actually much smoother now and it's starting to get rounder. I love this egg holder, it's so useful. Oh yeah. I think we have added a little too much water, so let's try patting it dry. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's already looking pretty good. Just gotta round out these bits here and continue this process. We have been at this for over an hour, but the ball is starting to look perfect! I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's starting to look pretty round. I'm gonna let the surface dry and do the final polish later, but in the meantime, let's move on to the tinfoil ball. The next ball we gotta polish is the tinfoil ball. This ball is very challenging. I've done a smaller version of this for a YouTube short before, and I found that once I started polishing, it starts forming these cracks. So I have to be like extremely careful not to rub it the wrong way. For this one, I'm gonna wrap up just because it gets a little dirty. I'm going in. So my strategy here is I'm gonna sand down the ball using different strengths of sandpaper, starting with the roughest, which is an 80 grit, and working our way down to a finer sandpaper, the 320 grit. With the rough sandpaper, it's gonna shave off more of the ball so I can shape it to be perfectly round. As we work down to the finer grades of sandpaper, it's gonna smooth out the surface, and that's when we'll see the ball really shine. I just found out a really good technique. I can curve one hand into a half sphere, put the sandpaper on top, and hold the ball with the other hand, and just rotate it like this. As I rotate, it's gonna sand it down into a perfectly circular shape. It's almost like how we use the circular cups to shave down the dirt ball. Starting to look pretty good. All right, it's time to upgrade our sandpaper. Now going to 120 grit. Ooh, it's becoming shinier. Oh, it's shinier now. Look at this. The texture is still quite rough, but it is shining. 150 grit. 180 grit. 240 grit. We're getting closer to it becoming shiny. Look at this. It's very shiny now, but you can kind of see the rough lines of the sandpaper. But as the sandpaper gets finer, these lines should disappear. We're about halfway through all of our sandpaper. This is making me think the polishing process for the tinfoil ball is probably gonna be similar to the paper ball. So why don't we try sanding the paper ball right now? I don't wanna start the paper ball at the roughest sandpaper because it's gonna shave off too much. So we're gonna start with 240. Let's see if sanding does anything. Ooh, we see the paper coming off immediately and I feel the heat in my hands. The paper is shaving off a lot easier than the tinfoil. Oh yeah, the goal is perfectly round and shiny because those are the balls that sell for the most money. This process is working for the paper ball. Because I'm using the same sandpaper anyway, I'm just gonna sand these at the same time. Okay, sanding by hand is almost impossible because these tiny little grooves I just can't get rid of. Gonna need a little bit of help. I'm gonna use the big sander to grind this down. All right, let's give this a try. Oh yeah. Yo, that's so much smoother. We just finished sanding every single ball. This is the dirt ball. Look at that. This was literally dirt from the ground. Now it's perfectly round. This is the tinfoil ball, and we were able to shave off a lot of the imperfections on the surface here. Now we just gotta make it shine. And our last ball is a paper ball. I am the most proud of this one. Look how this turned out. You can't even see any paper bumps at all. And when you feel it, it's almost like a suede texture. It's very, very soft. Now that each ball is perfectly round, the final step is to make them shine. This is what will allow us to charge those high prices we see on eBay. In order to make the dirt ball shine, we're gonna use the egg holder to smooth out the surface again, but this time with oil. I'm gonna add a bit of oil to the bottom of this egg holder. I think you could probably just use cooking oil, but I just have pan, so. It's not bad. Yeah, this is really helping it shine. I like the texture it's creating. Look at that, it's already becoming shinier. Really, we just needed to oil up. I'm patching up some holes here. The sound is so satisfying here. After polishing the dirt ball with the oil, these little bumps started forming. I'm just gonna go in with some fine sand and patch those up. I'm only patching it with very, very fine dirt because anything else will create even more holes. All right, after we sprinkled our dust, we're just gonna come back in and rub it back in. The only thing left to do now is just to bluff it out. I'm gonna use a very fine cloth just to go over the surface of this ball and remove all the little specks of dirt. I'm gonna continue with the 2 other balls and we'll be ready for the photo shoot. Now, to make the tinfoil ball shine, we're gonna need some help. We're gonna use this electric sander because previously our finest sandpaper was 320 grit, but this electric sander goes up to 2000. This should really create a polished surface. When I touch this area here, it's much smoother than if I touch this hand sanded part. Gotta continue that for the rest of the ball. After an hour of sanding with the electric sander, our tinfoil ball is starting to shine. Here, I'll give you a little glimpse. Oh, 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 oh. Just wait until the photo shoot. This ball is gonna look so good. Just gonna give it a final bluff and we'll move on to the paper ball. Our last obstacle is this paper ball. I thought a lot about how to make this shiny. Originally, I thought I was just gonna sand it more, but no matter how much I sand it, it does not create a smooth surface. It's still not shiny. And I tried the oil, but that leaves a dark spot because the paper absorbs the oil and it becomes this like dirty brown color. And I want my ball to look white like paper. The final solution I came up with is this, the white crayon. The most useless color there is. But when we rub it onto the surface of the ball, it creates a waxy coating and it doesn't discolor the ball at all. In fact, it makes it even whiter. And after we color in the entire ball, we can fluff it and make it even shinier. The entire ball is now coated in white crayon. Not sure if you can tell, but there's definitely a coat of wax on there. Now, we just have to fluff it out. This will smooth out the wax coating and smooth out the little imperfections on the surface as well. All right, the balls are finally done. This has been the dread of my life for the past week. I thought this was gonna be the shortest video I make on my channel, but life finds a way to teach you the lessons that you need. And this video definitely taught me about patience. Now let's go do the photo shoot. So you just saw my balls, but the real question is anyone actually willing to pay for them? I'm extremely proud of how it turned out. So I'm gonna list these balls on the auction site eBay and see what price we can sell for. Over the next few days, I stalked the eBay listing every chance I got. The paper and metal ball weren't getting any bids, but the dirt ball was rising in price every single day. And now that there's only less than a day left, guys, we are at $960 on this bid. That's insane. Yo, the price just went up again. Oh, 970. Dude, we're in a bidding war now. 980. Oh my gosh, we're about to break $1,000. It's literally made from dirt that was free. Oh, yo, we're literally at $1,000 on a piece of dirt. $1,275. I'm in shock, realizing I just turned something worthless into something worth thousands through sheer will, determination, and persistence. It reminds me of how I turned a $300 used camera into a thriving YouTube career. I can't sell this. This ball is a symbol of persistence. It's a reminder to keep going. No price will be enough, but I do want to give it to one of you watching. Don't quit rubbing your balls until it becomes a shiny masterpiece. So just go to my website and download the free Dorodango guide and you'll be automatically entered for a chance to receive this ball. No matter what you're doing, don't quit, keep going, and you will eventually shine.